Describe what working with George Lucas was like back in those days. Was he a tough boss? Was he a supportive boss? Like, there's always, there's coaches that are tough on their pitchers, and then there's coaches that know when to support the pitcher. What kind of coach boss was George when you were working with him?
So when I started working with him, he was a very reticent man, and he was shy around people that he didn't know well. Once he got to know you, then you could kibitz with him, and he was like a big college kid. So he'd come to work, he's wearing jeans, he's wearing a flannel shirt. On the weekends, he would wear his USC film school Letterman jacket. And the thing about him was his ability to analyze and say, that's good enough, or, we have to redo something, or you send it to me and I cut it in and it's not working with the sequence. So one time he's been away. We're on Jedi. He's been away for a couple of weeks. Well, we think we have shots done, but the shots are still hot on the sets because we want to tear all the sets down and remove the models and change the lighting until we get an okay. So he finally comes in one morning to the screening room, and the producers are kind of wringing their hands and they're feeling like they're behind. And George says, "You want decisions? Bring the lights down. You'll get decisions." Lights come down. We start projecting stuff. Bing, bam, boom, in, out. These are decisions that are flying around the room that, millions of dollars are at stake here. Yeah. So he was not a screamer. He was not anyone who was yelling at anybody. He would say he liked something or he didn't like it. I never saw him raise his voice to anyone. My book's full of stories of other directors who, and it comes from the fact that they are unsure. They're unsure about whether something is good or not, and that shows that it's fear, actually. And I'm sure George has his foibles. One of my best friends, when I was working at ILM, he said that he'd walked out in the hallway, saw George, stuck out his hand and said, "Hi, George, I'm Tim. I've been working for you for 2 years and I've never met you." And he said George practically jumped backwards. He felt like he was invading, his space. But everyone in Marin let the guy live his own life. And I've got a story about that. So I'm there the first week or so. We go to Daly's, then we go to the coffee shop across the parking lot. It was called Foodles. And we'd get a cup of coffee or a donut and then go back and start, editing whatever we were doing. So I'm in there and George walks in, jeans, flannel shirt, grabs a pot of coffee, pours it into a styrofoam cup, pays for it, and walks out the door. Okay, this is my first week or so. And I was like, doesn't this guy have somebody to go get him a cup of coffee? I've never seen anything like this. But that was not the thing. I later learned, what the thing was, he wanted to live as best he could a normal life. And that means, and he was able to do that in Marin. People knew who he was, but they would pretty much leave him alone. If a kid came up to him, he'd sign an autograph or something, but the adults sort of knew to let this guy have his own space. And that's a precious commodity when you reach his level.